The Chicago Blackhawks fall to the LA Kings 3-1 in what was easily the most disappointing game of the season from the Blackhawks thus far. They looked hungover, maybe from the Halloween party on Friday, possibly, maybe, I don't know. I said on stream tonight before the game even started, I didn't like the Blackhawks in this spot after what was a really hard-fought battle the other night against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Then to come home, you have a little party, you have a couple days off, you sleep in your own bed, you get comfortable, and then you come out with what was a very disappointing effort at home, which sucks. It sucks that the most disappointing game of the season this far had to be at home with, many fans in attendance paying their hard-earned dollars for, but that's neither here nor there. The Blackhawks actually started this game quite well. I thought they kind of dominated that first period. It felt like they had a jump on LA, who played last night in Nashville. That game went to a shootout, so it kind of felt like they had the edge in the first period. They had their legs under them. They looked like a faster, more cohesive unit than the LA Kings. Connor Bedard scores that kind of fluky-ish goal, but that's what happens when you go to the net. Ilya Mikheyev kind of makes a nice play to chip it towards the net, and Connor Bedard gets a piece of it, and it ends up finding its way in the back of the net. And I thought they were going to build. That first period seemed really strong. The first intermission, I felt really good about the Blackhawks at least playing a full 60-minute effort, but no, everything really changed in the second. That's when it started to look lethargic and slow. The Blackhawks were not stringing together passes whatsoever. It was sloppy. Poor decision-making led to 2 quick goals for LA around the 15, 16-minute mark of the second period. The first one was a really bad turnover from Sam Rinzel, trying to make too many plays, too many stick handles at the blue line, coughs it up. LA goes the other way on a 2-on-1, and LaFerriere rips it by Soderblom to make it level. And then like a minute and a half later, it was just like a breakout play from LA. And Fiala was on his horse going the other way and ended up going for a wraparound in the big 2025. Kevin Fiala scores a wraparound goal. That one, I don't want to blame Soderblom, but I mean, maybe be in your crease a little bit more. It's hard to point fingers on him. I felt like Arvid Soderblom actually played quite well tonight. I believe he saved 19 of 21 for a .905. So it was a solid game from Arvid Soderblom. Again, good goaltending for the Chicago Blackhawks. Arvid Soderblom made a bunch of timely stops to keep them in the game. And what I kept reiterating during the live stream tonight was, wow, this is the worst we've seen this team play. This is the worst game by far. And it's still a 2-1 hockey game. Like, up until the end, the Chicago Blackhawks were in that game despite getting completely outplayed for the second and third period. And when LA was able to get that lead after scoring those quick back-to-back goals there, that's exactly where LA wants to be. This LA Kings team, they will do anything in their power to get a narrow lead and just park the bus. That's their game. That's their bread and butter. That's what they love doing, and that's what they did tonight. And this Blackhawks team that was obviously feeling quite good about itself after that win against the Tampa Bay Lightning, they just did not have the legs to break through that stone wall that was the LA Kings defensive structure after they go up. The passing was just not on tonight from the Chicago Blackhawks. Breakouts in the neutral zone, in the offensive zone, no matter what zone you were in, the Blackhawks were not passing the puck well. And then, once you go down, you're starting to rely more on dump and chase, and that's exactly what LA wants you to do. So it kind of just felt like they were in a stranglehold. Then to make matters worse, the Chicago Blackhawks have obviously been playing with 11-7, 11 forward, 7 defensemen, and that's all fine and good. You get to tweak the lineup as you're going and give different guys different matchups, and it can be favorable for reasons like that. But on nights like tonight, when Ilya Mikheyev comes out and makes a great play to start the third period, but then goes crashing into the end boards super hard and has to leave the game with an injury, then all of a sudden you're chasing a hockey game down a goal with only 10 forwards. you basically have an entire line less than the other team, and you're trying to, break through their forecheck and their defensive structure, and it's just not going to happen. And so I think the writing was kind of on the wall with the Blackhawks. I wasn't very optimistic with the last 15 minutes of the game. I kind of knew how that one was going to go. But the thing I kept saying on stream tonight was, I'm okay with this. I can live with the performance that I saw tonight if they bounce back on Tuesday against the Ottawa Senators. That is a very winnable game. It's another game at home to kind of right your wrongs in front of your home fans. If you can bounce back and have a really positive, high-octane, high-energy, fast, aggressive performance on Tuesday against the Ottawa Senators, I can live with a performance tonight. I just can't. Games like tonight are going to happen. Across the 82-game schedule, you're going to have stinkers. You're going to have nights where your legs are just not under you, where it's sloppy, where it's not great hockey. Those nights are going to happen in an 82-game season, and so I can live with them as long as they don't stack upon each other. As long as the Blackhawks answer and play. Frankly, I want to see them play pissed off on Tuesday as a get back. And if they can do that and put together at least a convincing performance, you don't even necessarily have to win. I'm still I know that we've seen a lot from this young Blackhawks team this year and that expectations are higher than they have been in years past, but I'm still not expecting this team to win games. I'm not demanding that they win games. But as long as they perform like they did through the first 7 games of the season, I can live with whatever the result is against the Ottawa Senators. The effort just has to be better. You have to be more prepared. And maybe you go back to 12 forward, 6 defensemen. Maybe you take, you scratch Artem Levshunov for a game. You're not going to scratch Matt Grzelcyk after tonight's game. I think Matt Grzelcyk was probably the best player for the Chicago Blackhawks tonight, which is crazy, and I hope I don't say that one more time in the rest of I hope I never say that ever again for the rest of my life. Matt Grzelcyk was the best player for the Chicago Blackhawks today. I hope that's a sentence that never gets used ever again. But he was, so you're not going to scratch him. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you let Levshunov sit a game and go back to 12 forwards and call up Oliver Moore. I think this is the time you call Oliver Moore. I don't know what the situation is with Ilya Mikheyev. I just heard Jeff Blashill say that he doesn't think it's going to be anything long-term, but he doesn't know if he'll be able to go Tuesday or not. If Ilya Mikheyev can't go Tuesday, I think you call up Oliver Moore. He's been lighting it up in Rockford. He's looked great in Rockford, even after the Ice Hogs just got pounded this weekend. Even in that game, Oliver Moore looked fantastic and just faster than everyone and commanding the puck. I think it's time for Oliver Moore to come up, and maybe you play Sam Lafferty and go with 12 forwards. I think you have to tweak something if you're Jeff Blashill after that game. I would also be remiss if I did not talk about Tyler Bertuzzi's absence tonight. I think that was absolutely felt. I think Tyler Bertuzzi has played really well this season, and when you lose a guy like that in your top 6, it kind of just messes everything up with the rest of the lineup. And so I think that was felt tonight. It was also felt on the power play that again went scoreless. This power play is atrocious. They stink. They can't win the face-off in the offensive zone, and then they struggle so much getting the puck into the zone. And then once they do get the puck into the zone, they're exhausted and the passing's too sloppy and they can't string together. They can't get the cycle going. It's just been bad all around. There's really been nothing outstanding about this power play at all this year, despite, even when they score, it's like they'll in the Tampa game, Frank Nazar scores early, and then the power play for the rest of that game was completely abysmal. And it's like, where's the consistency there? They're just not getting anything going on the power play. So I think maybe it's time for a change there. If you're going to tweak personnel, I think maybe you take out Sam Rinzel and put in another defenseman, maybe a Wyatt Kaiser or a Matt Grzelcyk. Fuck, no, not Matt Grzelcyk. Maybe you play Levshunov or you give Alex Vlasic a nod on that first unit. I think you got to tweak something there just because they're not able to do anything. And it's kind of killing them. Like close games like tonight, they played poorly, but if you're able to score on one of those power plays, it's a completely different story. but they just have not been getting that production from the power play, and I think it's time for some sort of slight tweak just to give you a new look, fresh start, because what they're doing right now, the status quo, is not getting the job done. I'm probably not going to spend too much time on this video talking about this. It was the worst game of the season. It was frustrating. It was lethargic. It was ugly. It was slow. And I'm really just talking about the second and third period. I'll reiterate, I thought the first period was really solid tonight from the Chicago Blackhawks, but that can't happen. You can't have a really good first period and then completely shit the bed for the rest of the game. I mean, people work too hard to spend money on tickets to go to these games for you to look like that. Like, if they just looked like shit all night, I would have been like, all right, it was just not their night. It's a mail-in. They weren't firing, a couple days off, the party, whatever, I can live with that. If the guys are bonding and getting hammered and maybe not getting the best sleep this weekend, I can live with that if it's a one-off and it's the whole game. But when you show the effort, like the intensity in the first period was noticeable. They were kind of drowning the LA Kings a little bit. Like, they were overwhelming them with pressure and speed. And then it just completely fell apart in the second period, and it was just like a completely different team that you watch from the first period to the second period, and then same of just complete dog shit in the third. So make a change. I also, like, in games like that, like, maybe that's when you go nuclear. Maybe that's when we see Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar on a line with Teuvo Teravainen. Or Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar on a line with Andre Burakovsky. Like, I think in a game like that where it just feels like the ice is slanted and you cannot get past their forecheck and you cannot get into their zone, you can't get anything set up, I think you got to go nuclear and make a big change like that in the lineup just to try to throw something at a wall and see what sticks. But I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not like freaking out like, oh, these Blackhawks, oh, this is like last year again. They're going to revert. They're going to suck for the rest of the year. I'm not ringing the alarm bells at all. I think this was a one-off. And so prove it on Tuesday. Prove that this was a one-off stinker performance and that you're capable of playing the way you did for the first 7 games of the season. Prove that on Tuesday, and I will be completely fine with this loss, and I will move on without thinking twice about it. That's all I want to see, and I think that's all I've got tonight. I am dropping, depending upon when you watch this, but I am dropping the Anton Frondell tape review deep dive video tomorrow, Monday, at probably, I'll drop it at 4 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, Monday. And then I'll be back again Tuesday for the live stream and the post game. So I will see you guys for all of those things. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Actually, the Blackhawks lost tonight. I'm not even going to fucking ask for a thumbs up. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much. Peace out.